Hi, I'm Giuseppe Vacciago. I'm a criminal lawyer and I'm also expert on IT law. I'm also a professor at the University of Insubria and I have a PhD on digital forensics. I attended as a visiting scholar Fordham Law School and Stanford Law School. I'm also a member of the Executive Committee of Tech and Law Center and fellow at Nexa Center and Cybercrime Institute of Cologne. We start now from legal and policy-making considerations. From a legal standpoint, the results of the survey gave to us three possible scenarios. The first one is password. Students pay no attention to password, relevant security requirements, and they use predictable passwords. From an app's perspective, students install software and application from unauthorized stores or without giving importance at permissions. And the last one is sharing. Mobile device is passed on to someone else, in particular where they are sold as second-hand or lent to someone. The data demonstrates what I already said. 27% of students interviewed save on their device pins and password used for private services. 40% of students interviewed do not log out after using a service online or an app. 53% of students interviewed very rarely or never check the type of permission required when downloading an app. And last, 41% of students interviewed use Open Wi-Fi system to connect to the internet on their mobile device using all types of functions. So we could say password is, in a certain sense, tiring. And this is also demonstrated from other data. 40% of students interviewed do not use a password to protect their mobile device. 41% of students interviewed said that when asked to change their password, the new password that they create takes the form of a minor variation of the previous one. And lastly, 5% of students is currently using two-factor authentication, so only 5%. From a legal standpoint, we have as a first consequence the problem of the identity theft. And we have also to analyze the scenario from a legislation perspective. And we see that there is a lack of specific legislation on identity theft. There is a lack of national reporting system on identity theft. And most of all, there is different penalties from country to country. For example, there is a death penalty in China for this kind of crime, and in other countries you can have a sentence of 2 years of punishment. So there is a huge difference between these two situations. From a policy-making and legislation perspective, what we have to do is to introduce an ad hoc legislation and to reinforce the collaboration between national investigative bodies via an EU content network. And third, we need to have a centralized reporting system on EU basis. One interesting project is CONSAP in Italy that creates an identity theft project for the following sector: financial, telco and insurance, with the legislative decree 64 of 2011. Another thing that we have to do is to promote a cybersecurity campaign initiative. For example, the Italian Data Protection Authority focused attention on the correct use of mobile device with a project that is called Be Smart in the English translation, and also ENISA organizing the next month a cybersecurity championship where university students compete on network information security challenge. The main issue that we have discovered with this research is the need to have a balance between security versus usability. 54.5% of the students go onto sites that require authentication via Google or Facebook. This confirms that the extent to which usability is a determining factor in terms of the level of trust that a user places in their online services. Usability, so, is the central issue to increase the level of security on the mobile device. Another point that we want to raise is the need to have a clear regulation of mobile devices in universities. As Daniel Solov recently said, schools are gathering and sharing a mammoth amount of personal data. So we can make a comparison with the Italian and European university, and we have seen that there is no clear security policy for mobile devices in our university. And so the point is not only the student but also the professor are not always aware of cybersecurity risk. Another point really important is the regulation of mobile devices in universities. Daniel Solov recently said that schools are gathering and sharing a mammoth amount of personal data. There is no clear security policy for mobile devices in the Italian and European university, and the problem is not only for the student but also for the professor that not always are aware of cybersecurity risks. So we needed to create a model, and I think that a good example is coming from American University Security Standards, HIPAA, that are imposed for mobile device owned by students and university staffs in order to verify their security levels and, for example, virus, software updates or operating system, and also encryption systems. To conclude, from a legislative standpoint, it's important to consider a document that was created in 2002 by the OEDC, and the document was Culture of Security, and were based on the following points. Awareness, that means that participants should be aware of the needs for security of information system and networks. Responsibility, that means that participants are responsible for the security of information system and networks. Response, it means that participants should act in a timely and cooperative manner to prevent, detect and respond to security incidents. Ethics and democracy, it means that participants should respect the legitimate interests of others. And risk assessment, it's obviously a really important point, and it means that participants should conduct risk assessment. Then security design and implementation, it means that participants should incorporate security as an essential element of information system and networks. Security management, participants should adopt a comprehensive approach to security management. And finally, reassessment. It means that all the participants should review and reassess the security of information system and networks.